Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Gajin has released a devlog looking at the location improvements which are coming to ground forces in the next major update, and mainly focusing on Advance to the Rhine, Sinai, and also Jungle. It seems like they are massively updating, at least graphically, what the three maps look like, and also with a few gameplay tweaks here and there. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at them on the dev server and see if there's really any differences. Looking at the pictures that they've shown here, there doesn't seem to be anything massive. But in this video, we will talk about at least what we've seen in the sneak peek or the teaser trailer, and then also what we can see in the pictures. It looks like the major map which is getting changes is Jungle though, since they are changing some of the power positions that are available on the map. Before we get started into that though, there is also another little article that Gajin has put out for St. David's Day. The Welsh flag will be temporarily back for War Thunder, and it's to celebrate St. David's Day. It's going to be here from today, so the 28th of February, until the 3rd of March. It's going to cost you 500 GE if you want to pick it up. It's very weird to me how the Welsh flag just isn't in the game already, but yeah, at least you have the opportunity now to get it. So the first map that they're changing in the next major update is Advance to the Rhine, and by changing it, I mean they're just updating it graphically. Looking at the trailer and also looking at the pictures, everything pretty much just looks the same. We're going to have a look around it when it comes to the dev server, but I don't think it's really going to be that different. It looks very similar to what they did to Abandoned Factory, where they just made everything look a little bit better. The cathedral looks fantastic in the background, and also they've added German flags all over the map, which obviously it is a wartime map. It is advancing into the Rhine from the Western forces, so generally I think it's actually kind of nice to have this little historical detail. Obviously most people on the map only see about 10% of it fighting along that corridor, but at least the rest of us who enjoy the rest of the map will be able to admire it. At the same time, the other parts of the map which look really nice are the park area, which they have also updated, and even the little kind of like pillbox things are covered in little posters now, which really looks super cute. And just the little attention to detail that's put into these maps is just really astounding. I remember when the Sweden map first came out, that was the first map when I realized that the designers were really taking a massive interest into making these kind of areas look really nice and adding a lot of little individual details. And it looks like they've taken that idea and have started spreading it around. You have, of course, the Sun City map, where they started to do this with before, and now you have stuff like Advance to the Rhine and many others which are also getting the same treatment. It's actually really cool to see. For Sinai, they are once again updating the graphics, so there should be a lot higher contrast when it comes to the different desert sands. The other thing that they also say they're doing is they have moved a bunch of rocks in like different places. I don't know whether this is talking about kind of like the eastern side of the map or the western side of the map. I've always thought the western side of the map had the most issues because you can just dip, dive, and duck on that kind of road and then go and spawn camp, whereas the eastern side is much more fun as a brawl and as a hammer. But they do give some kind of aerial shots, and I don't really see that much different. Obviously they've updated the buildings, they've updated the shadows, they've updated, you know, the general look of the map, which is really nice, but I don't see anything that really indicates that it's going to have any huge gameplay tweaks. It's just going to look a lot cooler, and obviously that makes a massive difference because, as we talked about the other day while looking at the trailer, these maps you're going to see way more than playing an individual vehicle, unless you are a person who only plays one vehicle. Most people do, you know, enjoy having a bunch of stuff kind of wandering around the place. So for me, I think it's important to get these things right because it's something you're going to see much more in the game. It's why stuff like ballistics or general, like, you know, the way that rounds work is much more important than adding a specific vehicle, or maybe how a specific missile works is also very important. They are also adding a railway and telegraph line between the main combat areas and the water channel of Sinai. No idea what that means. I can't see it anywhere on the map itself, at least from what they've shown. So that will be interesting to see what goes on. But yeah, in the pictures, you can't really see it anywhere. So who knows at the end of the day. Jungle is also getting updated, and it's getting the most changes out of all of them. Jungle, when it first was added to the game, is a completely different experience to what it is now. I feel like they've remodeled it at least 1, 2, maybe 3, or even 4 times. And then on top of it, Jungle used to be really odd. You needed a lot less tickets, or sorry, the ticket bleed was a lot faster with Jungle than it was with other maps. So for some reason, it just meant that you lasted a lot less time on the map. I don't know why, they decided to do that, but they fixed that earlier this year, and now it looks like they're doing a massive update to its graphics and also adding a bunch of stuff to it. They're also doing some balance changes, removing some power positions. So they say the mountain, which was in B1, you can now no longer climb. So they've removed that from being able to touch. And then also at the same time, the positions in squares E4 and E5 have been closed off too. So they are doing some massive tweaks to how you're going to actually play this map. And also, they've added a bunch of houses, they've moved around some of the capture points, and one of the big changes, which I think is actually really cool, is the river that runs through the middle of the jungle map is now fully traversable. So instead of just having areas where you drown, now you can just cross it wherever. And that, to me, is a huge change. That's actually really positive. It's something they did with the Vietnam map. When the Vietnam map came out, it just had a bunch of sinkholes where you would just be going in the water trying to traverse, and then you would just drown. And Jungle, since it's been added to the game, which it's one of the longest, the longest maps that have been in War Thunder, or at least for ground forces in War Thunder, it's nice to see that they've finally brought that change to it. So out of the 3, Jungle is definitely getting the most changes. Whether it's going to make a huge difference to how the map is played, I mean, we're going to have to see, especially if they move around the points. So these 3 maps are getting massively updated. They basically added a ton of maps the last few years, and now the focus seems to be upgrading the maps that we already have. And to be honest, I have no problems with this. A lot of the older maps do look not very good, and at the same time, with the advent of new mechanics, new vehicles, and generally new playstyles that comes to War Thunder, these things do have to be modified to try and fit how people play the game. And I think maps are one of those things that do get heavily critiqued by many members of the community. So to see Gaijin make, more changes and pushing more improvements will either be very positive or very negative. Some of the changes that they've made, example to Wallonia, has been incredibly negative. It's actually been very bad. But there have been maps that have benefited from some of these changes, such as Abandoned Factory, which already was a pretty good map, but now at least it looks visually awesome. Sinai and Advance to the Rhine are maps which have very distinguished and simple playstyles that people enjoy, and Jungle is one of those that has needed a revamp for a long time. So to see all of these things come in is fantastic to see. And of course, with other maps still being out of the pool, like White Rock Fortress, maybe with these improvements to old maps, maybe we see some maps like that come back and, well, join the game again. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.